his dad, and the people.
And we saw, obviously, if you fight him 10 times, you beat him 20 times.
Bow, hit him with that.
He's lucky he didn't fight you.
Gervonta Davis has decided to break his silence and make the first move this time with Lamont Roach. For the past few weeks, the usually provocative Gervonta Davis has been relatively quiet, as Lamont Roach had been the one forcing a feud. Well, the Lion, Gervonta Davis, has been let loose, and he's started with a stern warning to Lamont Roach to watch his back. Lamont Roach has been all over the place, jumping on virtual interviews here and there and answering different questions about himself and Gervonta Davis.
Your opponents move like the Matrix. Tank, you're able to, all of them.
It's timing.
It's just something amazing because we don't always see that in boxing. It's hit and don't get hit.
On the other hand, the more reputable Gervonta Davis has not shown his face in some weeks. Neither has he granted any virtual interview. In fact, the last time he was seen in public was on September 14th, when Canelo Alvarez fought and defeated Edgar Berlanga in their unified super middleweight title clash. Ever since, Gervonta Davis has been locked in, while Lamont Roach, out of the excitement of having the biggest match of his career and a big payday, is busy appearing on media platforms and recently appeared at a football game.
Anniversary, and they picked you the headline, Tank.
Yeah, that's fire. That's what I'm most excited about. Like, I'm grateful for that. Like, I remember the times that me coming.
And this is why Gervonta Davis warned him in a tweet on X, formerly Twitter, to watch his back, before deleting the tweet not too long after. This was exactly the same case before Gervonta Davis fought Frank Martin, where he accused Frank Martin of spending time out at a club with Ryan Garcia when he clearly didn't have the skill to do so many extra activities outside boxing.
You've been with Ryan. You've been with him, been drinking, been out with him partying.
Who? Who been out with him partying?
Not recently, but you
after his last fight. After his last.
Shortly before their fight, Gervonta Davis issued a stark warning, suggesting that Martin cannot afford to slack off in training, especially after being seen partying with Ryan Garcia. They were scheduled to meet on June 15th at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, for the World Boxing Association lightweight title, and at the time, the clash between Davis and Martin had already sparked controversy beyond the two fighters. During a face-to-face encounter, defending champion Tank Davis raised concerns about Martin's commitment, referencing his social activities with Garcia. Davis questioned, "Do you have the skills to do that? You've been with Ryan Garcia, been drinking, been out with him partying," Davis stated.
Fight.
You have.
After his last fight.
Do you have the skills to do that?
After his last fight.
Do you have the skills to be out partying and missing? You don't have the skills to be doing that, bro.
Nigga, when did...
He continued, "Do you have the skills to be out partying and missing training? You don't have the skills to be doing that." Davis highlighted Martin's late start in boxing, noting, "You started boxing when you were 15. If I started at 15, if I started when I was 15, I'm taking that stuff off. I'm grinding training all day. I'm grinding." In a press conference, Davis further dismissed Martin's bravado, stating, "He put on for the people that he comes with here because they think they're thugs and stuff like that, but I'm telling you, it's a different beast in front of him."
When
did he fight?
If
Look.
I started when I was 15, brother,
Man,
I'm
you
taking
just
that
talking.
shit off.
You just
I'm
talking.
grinding. I'm grinding.
That don't
I'm
even make sense.
grinding.
You just talking, bro.
You trash,
That's all
bro.
I do is
You
grind
trash.
year round, nigga.
You
That's
trash.
That's so...
Asserting his dominance, Davis warned, "Nobody that's walking with him, holding his hand, is going to be able to save him on June 15th. I'm telling you, and it's a lot of stuff built up, a lot built up, and I'm going to take it out on him. Sorry, it's going to be him." Despite snapping a career-long layoff of 14 months, lightweight superstar Gervonta "Tank" Davis proved on June 15th that he, indeed, ain't afraid of no ghost, or any other fighter for that matter. Davis, whose team was dressed in Ghostbusters gear as he walked to the ring inside the MGM Grand Garden Arena to the movie theme song, took care of unbeaten top contender Frank the Ghost Martin with relative ease to defend his World Boxing Association title at 135 pounds. In his first fight since knocking out Ryan Garcia in their blockbuster pay-per-view card last April, with a 44-day jail term in between for violating the terms of his house arrest, the 29-year-old Davis looked both menacing and spectacular in how he repeatedly walked down Martin before viciously stopping him at 129 of round 8. After a slow start, which he ascribed to being rusty, Davis began to routinely walk Davis from corner to corner and unleash power shots after taking away his opponent's jab due to the threat of his power. Eventually, that same power caught up with Martin as Davis landed a left uppercut in the corner to stun him before nearly knocking him out cold with a left cross. Martin, 29, was wobbly as he reached his feet at the count of 10, but referee Harvey Dock waved off the fight after looking into his eyes. I was rusty, but it was okay because I'm back, Davis said. A couple of rounds, I felt like I completely needed a warm-up, but it's okay. His footwork wasn't bothering me. I knew he would tire out. That's why we decided to just stand there and be a target for him so he could tire himself out throwing punches. Davis, who targeted the body throughout, landed an absurd 53% of his power shots, according to CompuBox, in the PBC on Prime Video PPV main event. Martin landed slightly more punches overall, 81 to 79, but it was the trademark efficiency of Davis that won out as he went on to land 44% of his total punches. It was the uppercut that hurt him. Boom! Davis said, "I've been around for a long time and I have been training since I was 7 and competing since I was 8. It's like second nature for me. It's just about staying focused and making sure my mind is on the road to coming out on top." Although Martin was able to gain back respect at times by exploding out of the corner with clean left hands to keep Davis honest, while causing a bruise around his right eye, he was never able to follow up with anything menacing enough to keep Davis from unleashing relentless pressure over the final rounds. "I feel like in the beginning, I was in control, but then I got a little too comfortable," Martin said. "I stopped doing my movement, and once I stopped moving, he was hitting me with big shots. When I stopped doing my thing, he started hitting me big. It was just me trying to figure out what I could do to try to slow down the pressure that was coming." Roach will move up to 135 pounds from 130 pounds, where he holds the World Boxing Association crown, and insists he is a far tougher challenge than Martin, who Tank dispatched in 8 rounds in June. "Respectfully, I'm not Frank Martin," the 29-year-old told Cigar Talk. "Frank Martin started boxing when he was 15. He didn't have the experience to be in there with someone as skilled and as experienced as him."
We both break bread, we get it, you know what I'm saying? It'd be a big fight.
Yeah. So
I
always been
knew, yeah, it always been love for sure. But I always knew that right here would come because he's one of the best, and I know for 100% for a fact that I'm one of the best. You know what I'm saying? So that's.
"I've got the same skill level as Tank. I've got the same experience as Tank. I've got the reflexes. I've got the ability. I've damn sure got the IQ." The Reaper has already faced Davis twice before in the amateurs, losing by decision on both occasions. The Washington man has won 6 on the bounce since dropping a unanimous decision to Jamel Herring in a bid for the World Boxing Council Super Featherweight World title in 2019, securing the World Boxing Association crown with a split decision victory over Hector Luis Garcia in November 2023, whom Tank knocked out 10 months prior. Davis, who is from neighboring Baltimore, has won 28 of his 30 professional fights by knockout. However, Roach insists he has the chin to stand up to the 29-year-old's power.
Boxing, Gervonta Tank Davis just been released to the public. We know now, December 14th, Houston, Texas, he's going to be facing a very tough opponent in Lamont Roach.
"What makes people think I'm going to end up like those guys who didn't have the experience and skill?" he added. "I think I've got a nice chin. I got hit on my chin a couple of times. Ain't nobody never dropped me. Ain't nobody ever seen me hurt in no fight. The power might be a little different."
135, so I don't blame him for fighting that way. But he's not a big 35. I don't see why people like, "Oh, you brought up a smaller guy, woo-de-woo, blah, blah, blah." I mean, like.
Roach explained in an interview with Najee Grampus of Cigar Talk that, despite critics' opinions, Davis is not the biggest lightweight. "Everybody he fights is damn near bigger than him," Roach said. "The only person that was smaller than him was Isaac Cruz, and that's just in height."
get heated and they start creating words, then I gotta do my pages.
Yeah, no, I hear you. You gotta respond.
Yeah. Other than that, cool. Be cool.
Yeah.
Even though Lamont Roach currently competes in the 130-pound division, his plan was always to move up to 135 pounds to capture another title. I fight at 130 because that's where I campaign. That's where I started my career. That's where I worked my way up to a world title, Roach explained.
To me personally, I'm not stunned that. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna keep saying that. They're gonna keep saying that. You know what I'm saying? I fight at 130 because that's what I campaign at. That's where I started my career.
He also made it clear that the decision to move up came earlier than expected. However, he feels ready to face Davis in this new weight class. Lamont Roach, who holds a record of 25 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw, has competed at the 130-pound limit since 2017. Before that, he weighed around 131 or 132 pounds, though in his early professional fights, he weighed more than 134 pounds. When a boxer is starting their career, they don't necessarily have to make 130 pounds because we're not in title contention or none of that, Roach explained. On the other hand, Gervonta Davis, a 29-year-old from Baltimore, has had a notable career, moving across various divisions.
That's where I campaigned. That's why I worked my way up to a world title. And that's what I was going to do. My plan was always to move up to 35 and win another title. So it just...
Davis began as a featherweight in 2013, but it was in 2017 that he established himself in the junior lightweight division after knocking out Jose Pedraza for a world title. Since then, he has fought in several weight classes, including lightweight and junior welterweight, before returning to 135 pounds. Both fighters have a slight height difference. Roach stands at 1.70 meters, while Davis is 1.65 meters tall, reinforcing the idea that the physical difference will not be a decisive factor in the fight.
35 fights, like when a boxer starting their career, they don't necessarily have to make 130 pounds because we're not in title contention.
Lamont Roach emphasized that his opponent feels comfortable at 135 pounds, but doesn't consider him a big lightweight. Earlier, Gervonta Davis was of the belief that Lamont Roach isn't any better than the last 30 boxing fighters he defeated, hence, he should remain calm and humble until the day of punishment, where he would be low-key punished.
You know what I'm saying? But what I'm getting at is I dominated Hector. I dropped Hector. I heard him before I dropped him. And they still...
But no, Lamont Roach doesn't want a silent win. He wants whoever would emerge victorious to be as loud and courageous as possible. He even called out Frank Martin and claimed he would never show up in a fight as cowardly as Frank Martin did. Hence, he's set to change the narrative at this juncture. But can he really do that? You probably saw the fierce exchange they had on X, formerly Twitter. But there was so much more than that. This fight once again proves the stardom of Tank, as he was once again allowed to handpick a challenger. Fans were not happy with the announcement as Roach is quite unproven against top stars like Tank. Furthermore, he will have a disadvantage coming from a lighter weight division. However, this will be Roach's biggest fight ever, and with his title not being on the line, he can perform without much pressure. Interestingly, this matchup seems like a supernatural fixture, as Lamont Roach also had a fight in June where he knocked out his opponent in the 8th round as well. Lamont Roach Jr. was victorious in his June homecoming, fighting through a gritty challenge from Fergal McCrory, scoring 3 knockdowns, and picking up an 8th round technical knockout. If ever there was a time for Roach to come home, it was his first title defense. Roach won the World Boxing Association's junior lightweight title last November, defeating Hector Garcia by split decision on the undercard of David Benavidez's victory over Demetrius Andrade.
Did you go through any adversity? Talk a little bit about it.
Fergal was a tough guy. He was a very tough guy.
This headlining bout at the Entertainment and Sports Arena in Washington, D.C. was Roach's first time fighting in front of his hometown crowd since November 2017. Somehow, it was only the 4th appearance ever in the area for a fighter who was born in the nation's capital and now lives in a neighboring county. "I've been training my ass off to put on a spectacular performance," Roach said afterward. McCrory, meanwhile, was in hostile territory. Though he had vocal supporters in attendance, who made sure they were heard both from the outset and throughout.
One that didn't want to take no for an answer. As you can see, I dropped him 3 times. The last knockdown, I didn't think he was going to get up from, but he surprised me. He damn sure surprised me. He was tough. It was tough as nails. So
They chanted, "Oli, Oli, Oli," as the fight began, and McCrory was spurred forward. It was Roach, though, who landed the first notable blows of the bout with a 1-2 combination, and soon 2 left hooks, followed by a right hand. McCrory continued his pursuit, and as the round closed, he pounded away at Roach's body. McCrory tried more bodywork to start the second. Roach wisely tied him up. He couldn't spend the entire round holding McCrory, who dedicated much of his offense to Roach's midsection.
That was just a good, durable opponent. Obviously worked his way up to, the opportunity where he can get chosen to challenge for a world.
Roach landed with 2 blows to the head and a left hook to the body, and soon dug another hook to the body, followed by one upstairs. McCrory appeared to be reeling in the waning moments of the round. Roach scored a knockdown early on in the 3rd round, timing a left hook as McCrory moved forward. McCrory rose and returned to his standby, the body shots underneath and around Roach's high guard. Roach retaliated with a pair of body shots of his own, plus some punches to the head. Roach scored 2 knockdowns in the 4th round by giving McCrory a dose of his own medicine. McCrory had been trying to smother him, and Roach sought to create breathing room to work, finding spots for an uppercut here, a hook there, punching and then moving, rinse and repeat. Then Roach went downstairs with 2 body shots, then another right to the core, and McCrory hit the floor.
World title. What's up? I'm sorry.
No problem.
It's okay. It's okay. Go back in the room and watch TV, okay? You'll be okay.
McCrory rose at the count of 8, and Roach went straight back at him with a left to the body. McCrory went down again, shaking his head, rising and pounding his gloves. The bell ended, saving McCrory from further agony. He wasn't going away just yet, though. Roach again landed a left hook counter as McCrory approached at the start of the 5th, followed soon by 2 more shots to the head. Then came an extended sequence with McCrory on offense and Roach throwing a little. Then Roach, with his back still on the ropes, began to let his hands go again, using McCrory's proximity and aggression against him. They fought at close quarters for much of the 6th, McCrory digging to the body and mixing in short shots to the head, trying to suffocate Roach's own output.
Yeah, man. So Fergal was tough. When I took out of that fight, man, I was just
Roach found room and took advantage of it with a series of flush shots in the final 30 seconds of the round. McCrory started the 7th taunting Roach by holding his gloves down by his side. He wouldn't end the round with anywhere near as much bravado. Roach pummeled him with a varied attack, buzzing McCrory, who teetered and tied up. As the 8th got underway, McCrory was less able to get inside, which meant Roach was also more able to pick McCrory off as he came forward. A counter right turned McCrory around, a left and a right to the head hurt McCrory, who was unable to tie up and prevent the onslaught to come. Roach flurried, trying to force the referee to step in, and instead McCrory's camp alerted a ringside official who stepped onto the canvas. Roach moved to January 1st, 24. The lone loss was in a title fight against Jamel Herring in 2019.
Getting to explore, or getting everybody else to explore some of my arsenal. That guy just didn't stop coming forward or anything like that, so I was able to.
The draw came against Orlando Cruz in 2018. Roach has improved since then, and with a world title around his waist, now wants to add more to his collection. "My next goal to conquer is unification," he said afterward. "I'm the best at 130. I hope I showed it tonight, but I'm definitely going to show it when I unify." Roach's preference is O'Shaki Foster, who will defend his World Boxing Council belt next week against Robson Conceição. In a post-fight interview with Marco Antonio Barrera, Roach was asked about World Boxing Organization title holder Emmanuel Navarrete. "It would be a total, all-out war," Roach said. McCrory, a prospect from Ireland who now fights out of New York, is now 16-1. He said afterward that he appreciated his team making the tough decision to stop the bout, given that he, as a fighter, never would have done so himself. We knew Lamont was a good fighter. They don't give out world titles, McCrory said afterward. But we came here to win. We trained to win. We prepared the best that I possibly could. And tonight, I wasn't good enough. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.